First of all, thank you all for giving up your precious time to join this webinar and to give us the opportunity to show you a little taste of the wide delights that Morocco has to offer. As Norman said, we are going to focus on this occasion much more on Marrakech as the most exotic destination in Morocco, with both the city itself, but also out of the town with the nearby High Atlas Mountains and the Agafay Rock Desert. We are going to start, if you don't mind, with the accommodation options for this great short haul destination, but that offers a long haul experience. Because within just a couple of hours flights, you will have the opportunity to experience another culture, another way of life, another totally different and exotic destination within a European flying time. So in terms of accommodations, you have a wide range from the international brand hotels that the destination has to offer, like the Sofitel, the Four Seasons, the Mandarin Oriental, and so on. But we also have some unique and iconic legendary hotels like La Mamounia, which was built in 1923 and has been refurbished many times, and which is right in the center of Marrakech. So it's an oasis of tranquility right in downtown. Another option is Royal Mansour, which belongs to the king and which is really fit for royalty. So again, it's a small accommodation property with 53 small riads or courtyard houses that can be used for accommodation, and it can be taken over exclusively. You also have the riads. The riads are the traditional Moroccan houses built in such a grand style around a courtyard with a fountain or a garden or even both. And while many of these riads are still private homes, others have been converted into small accommodation properties. So they are similar, but they are also a bit different from each other because some of them have a pool, others don't. Some of them have a roof terrace where you can enjoy cocktails, dinners, and so on. And the access is also a part of the experience because people will be dropped off and they will walk through the alleyways and the back streets of the Medina, which adds to the mystery and adds to the impacts of the experience. So every time, we work on a brief on your behalf, we do everything possible to provide you with accommodation options that can be taken over exclusively, which will be a great bonus and an extra selling point. There are also other boutique hotels and riads, but on a smaller scale. The one you are seeing right now is the largest, not only in Marrakech, but in the whole Morocco, because it has 108 bedrooms, but it's such a compact riad hotel because around the courtyard, we have beautiful lounges, bars, restaurants, and so on. And the main courtyard has been converted into a large swimming pool. Again, it's located right in the Medina, which is the old town, really in the hustle and bustle of the city. But once you are inside, it's just so peaceful, quiet, and serene, which is great. In terms of accommodation options, another brilliant option is to spend the night under the stars. In the nearby Agafay Rock Desert or the Atlas Mountains. And here you have a wide range of options from basic camping through to glamping. So it all depends on what you and your clients are looking for. Because some clients are looking to combine adventure with just comfort, but others would like to go that extra mile and combine it even with luxury. So we are going to look at this option later on. We are going to also to start with the first and last impressions. That's the arrival at the airport. So we have an agreement with all the airport authorities throughout Morocco for your guests to be met and greeted airside. They will be fast-tracked through immigration and customs to make sure that everything will run as quickly and smoothly as possible, because it's really the first impression. So to have to get it right. And the same for departure, the same treatments will be offered up in departure, because again, it's the last impression that probably people will remember the most. Something that is also specific to Marrakech is that the most central hotels are located within about 15 minutes of drive from the airport. So a great fast track service upon arrival, with meet and greet, rose-scented towels, refreshments, and a shorter journey to the hotel is great bonus to be taken into consideration. In terms of group activities, I would focus much more on things that are really a must-see and must-experience of the destination and that cannot be missed like, I mean, an intimate immersion into the souks, which is the old market area, and the Medina, really in the hustle and bustle of the city, where you have the opportunity to interact with the locals, to see the Moroccan way of living at its most authentic. And we always do it in the afternoon, because that's when the famous Jamal Fna Square comes alive. So with groups, we split the group into smaller groups of about 6 to 10 people maximum, and each small group will have their dedicated guide, fully licensed German-speaking guide, and they will follow, I mean, an itinerary from start to finish to make sure that no one will be lost, and to make sure that we inject that great personalized treatment and service throughout the experience. It's something that can also be combined with different options like a bartering or bargaining challenge, just to add to the fun and to the experience, rather than doing it in the classic or standard option. We talked about the Jamal Fna Square with its daily lively entertainment, especially from mid-afternoon, because that's when it becomes more busy and exciting. It would also be good to offer the options of the great stylish three-wheeled sidecars in the Medina, just again to add to the fun and to the experience. Another contrast in terms of exciting group activities is to explore the region of the High Atlas Mountains and the Agafay Rock Deserts. Because I mean, to get there, it only takes you about an hour if you use the direct road. But the way we do it is that we tend to mix great on-road and off-road opportunities. So for example, on the way to the lunch venue, there will be different stops. There will be great, I mean, exciting driving experiences on-road and off-road experiences. We also have different stops en route to make sure that we are not going to be stuck in the same car from start to finish. So we have the option to drive yourselves or to have chauffeur-driven jeeps. So which will be another contrast to the other experience guests would have had before or later in the souks and in the hustle and bustle of the city. So this is just a little map just to show you an option of what can be done. It's like a loop, just to make sure that no road, no itinerary will be done more than once. So again, it's a great mix and combination of on-road and off-road, different stops. It's something that we can also combine with interactive challenges around the 5 senses. I mean, with the taste sense. So by tasting the Moroccan mint tea in a Moroccan house, people can figure out the ingredients and the recipe. We can also ask them to smell the Moroccan spices, and by smelling them, they would easily or challengingly recognize what they are. The sound sense, I mean, guests can be trained by master musicians, and they would be asked to perform a similar song using the same instruments and melodies. The sight sense is definitely not an issue, because there is a wide range of landscapes and sceneries throughout the journey. The touch sense, I mean, using some centuries old crafts like the ceramics and the mosaics, I mean, of which Morocco is widely famous. We can also add to this great day the use of different modes and means of transportation, like the old Mercedes-Benz cars, camels, quad bikes, I mean, the open Berber tracks, I mean, with musicians and singers, I mean, all the locals, just to get to the last stop, to the lunch venue, for example. Because the idea is not to be stuck in the same car, not to have a boring journey, but after every half an hour or so, there is something really exciting, fascinating, waiting for guests as a completely surprising elements. In terms of lunch, in the Atlas Mountains, you have different options you can choose from. You have this Kasbah by Beldi, which is a beautiful oasis of tranquility in the middle of nowhere, in a remote village in the shade of centuries old, I mean, pistachio and olive trees. So you can enjoy a picnic chic barbecue lunch, or you can have lunch in a beautiful Kasbah, which is about 1,800 meters above sea level, with fantastic views of the Atlas Mountains. You can also have something completely built from scratch, especially for your event, with a bespoke desert chic lunch in the Agafay Rock Deserts, in Bedouin tents or in Chieftain tents. Another option would be to combine the day with some team building activities using a pre-established and a permanent structure called TRENDY, which is just about 35 minutes to drive from Marrakech if you use the direct road. And it's a beautiful 120-hectare site with different activities and attractions, including a zip line, which is one of the largest in Africa with more than 300 meters long. So we have just gone through the some great group activities not to be missed and that everyone will really enjoy. And you cannot really plan Marrakech without exploring those activities. Otherwise, people really enjoy being involved in their own program by letting them choose their own and preferred optional activities, because they don't necessarily have the same tastes, they don't necessarily have the same preferences or profile. So, for example, for half day, let's give guests, different options like hot air ballooning, helicopter experience, quad biking, camel riding, horse riding, golf, horse-drawn carriages, which is really a fun and typical means of transportation. We have in Marrakech. People can also enjoy a Moroccan cookery class, which is not just a simple demonstration, but people can be involved in the preparation of their own tagine from start to finish. And then they will taste it themselves during lunch so that they can judge their own performance, all in a great atmosphere of fun and enjoyment. Shopping, again, for the serious shoppers, if they would like to shop and to enjoy that activity even more. Hammam, which is a Moroccan steam bath. Of course, you can enjoy it at the hotel, but when you do it off-site, away from the hotel, it's another experience. So it offers more interaction, more charm, and great wow effects. In terms of off-site dinners, here again, there are almost endless options you can choose from. So we have the traditional options like the riads we talked about, those are beautiful courtyard houses in the Medina we talked about. Some of them have been converted into accommodation options, but others like this one have been converted into first-class restaurants and they have different levels. So once you get there, it's just a plain facade, nothing impressive from outside, but it's much more when the doors open. That's when you have that wow factor that is really guaranteed. So the splendor is only revealed once you have gained admittance. So with this one, for example, you have that beautiful courtyard with the pool around which you can have your pre-dinner drinks or dinner. There are surrounding lounges. There is also another floor that can be used as a dining room, and there is a roof terrace for pre-dinner drinks. This is Dar Zelish, which is another superb 17th century riad in the Medina that can be taken over exclusively with its different dining and nightlife options. We have Dar Moha, which belongs to, a very famous Moroccan chef that has been awarded different prizes, both nationally and also internationally, for his creative Moroccan cuisine. This one is almost an exception in terms of access, because it's not through the alleyways and the back streets, but you can be dropped off right near the main entrance, which is another bonus. Especially, if it's a formal dinner, where people, especially ladies, are dressed up with high heels and so on. So the Suleiman Palace, which is one of the largest, again, in Marrakech, it's great, much more, I would say, for large groups. So the choice of venues depends on how big the group is, the profile, what you are looking for, whether it's a formal or an informal evening. But here again, we are highly selective in their choice in terms of access of the food, the service, the entertainments, the operating standards, and so on. So many boxes that need to be ticked. But again, with keeping in mind the main objective of offering you as an experience that is really as great, personalized, and memorable as possible. So we are not going to put a small group in a large venue or vice versa. It would also be good to show your guests how cosmopolitan, how multifaceted Marrakech is, because sometimes when you ask people about their perception of the destination before they go, most of them will conceive it or will think it's going to be traditional, authentic. There is a desert, it's even dusty, camels, We still have that, but people have always been amazed and enchanted by how chic the destination is. So we can reflect that through a wide range of trendy and atmospheric dining options and nightlife areas like Jad Mahal, which is really one of the most popular nightlife options, with international and Moroccan cuisine, a live band, a DJ, a floor show, so many things going on. Le Comptoir d'Arna, which is also, I mean, pretty much the same spirits. You also have the Lotus Club with some great constant creative choreographies that add to the impacts of the evening. You have Bozine, which is really one of the places to be in Marrakech, with a great mix of indoor and outdoor areas. That's where most of the celebrities go, for example, during the Marrakech International Film Festival, to enjoy the quality of nightlife. But having said that, it's still great value for money. I mean, especially thanks to our great partnership with the owners and so on. Buddha Bar, we have a Buddha Bar in Marrakech as well. And another option in terms of off-site dinners is to have something really exclusive and even bespoke that people cannot easily experience or do if they go to Marrakech or to Morocco on their own or on a holiday. So it will be really one of your added values. So the Beldi Country Club offers, I mean, a magnificent mix of indoor and outdoor areas. So it's not really the kind of venues you go to and you are stuck in the same space or in the same room from start to finish. No, you get there, you walk through, I mean, lush vegetation and bougainvillea to get to the pre-dinner drinks. You spend something like an hour there before you are directed to the dining room, which is a beautiful dining room with an adjacent terrace, then another space, I mean, to extend the evening with a chill out area with hubbly bubbly pipes and so on, even a disco in the open air. So the whole venue is yours. So, I mean, the flexibility is brilliant there. Dar Sukar, which is a superb 16th century sugar refinery that has been converted into a magnificent place for gala dinners and private receptions. Again, I mean, with the beautiful areas outside, but also inside. Another option would be to set up something very much in the middle of nowhere. I mean, as a 1001 Night Feast, which has always been one of the main highlights of our programs, because I mean, nothing is there, so everything we set up there is really special for your events. So here again, we are only talking about 20 to 25 minutes to drive from the hotel, but because the whole site, the whole experience will be yours, there are no restrictions, no limitations in terms of timing, branding, or entertainment, so you can really enjoy it as long as you want. And again, I mean, the entertainments, the enhancement options, there are loads of them. Here you have, we talked earlier, I mean, in terms of accommodation options, we talked about the campsite experiences. It's something that can be combined with that 1001 Night Feast. And here we have different options you can choose from depending on what you are looking for. So we can start with the simple Bedouin camps. So this is really the entry-level camp options. It's made of Bedouin tents. The Bedouin tents are made of camel or goat hair. So they are really authentic. So for the entry-level campsite, you can have basic tents, but that are really authentic and nice. And we don't really go for ensuite tents, but we go for shared sanitary arrangements, just, I mean, to offer the best value for money depending on budgets. Otherwise, you can also go for the ensuite chieftain tent, which is a more elaborate accommodation options. So this is how the tent will look like from outside. And each tent will be divided into 3 parts. One part as the bedroom, that has also a lounge area, which is directly connected to a private bathroom with hot water shower, wash basin, toilets, and so on. So this is how they look also from inside, with bathrobes, slippers, and so on. So it's with all the facilities and the comforts that you would expect at your hotel, for example, in Marrakech. So this is the feast setup. These are photos based on our previous events we did in the Palm Grove and in the Agave Rock Deserts. So you can see the Bedouin tents, the brown ones, made of camel or goat hair. This is the entrance of the site, because the whole site will be enhanced by the addition of high quality lighting to make sure that it will look really as impressive and spectacular as possible, with that great wow factor even upon arrival. There will be different big bonfires around which people can chill out. This is the bar section with a proper station with a nice setup and display of international and Moroccan brands. But of course, there will be trade drinks upon arrival to make sure people don't need to wait before having their drinks. This is a normal setup, a formal setup. And you also have the chill out areas with cushions, with poofs, with low tables, hubbly bubbly pipes, tea lights, and so on. And we talked about the different options. So you can have a mix of traditional, but also international options, including a disco in the open air with the DJ and so on. And believe me, this is really the evening when people tend to stay really till early hours, because I mean, the atmosphere, the ambience are just brilliant. So people, they feel a bit guilty, they have to leave, and to leave that great setup and the decoration and so on. So for the transfers back to the hotel, we can go with the staggered departures to make sure that every time we have people who are ready to leave, they will be transferred straight away. So another option for the campsites is to take advantage of pre-established and permanent structures. So these are not bespoke experiences like the one we have just seen, but they offer a great value. And again, every time we receive a brief, we do everything possible to make them exclusive to your group. So they don't have to mingle, they don't have to get mixed with other nationalities or with other groups or so on. So the rules will be yours. Everything will be done, amended, enhanced, and personalized in any way that you desire. And also you can do them all year round, because I mean, they have been built and conceived with the unlikely wet weather in mind. So, I mean, they offer really proper bedding with all the facilities and the comfort you would expect. This is a chill out area. It's much more daytime, but of course it looks much more attractive in the evening. So you can see again, I mean, another campsite, a pre-established and a fixed one with a nice backdrop of the High Atlas Mountains. This is the glamping option with some fantastic views and beautiful setup, layouts, and amenities. Again, you can watch the magical sight of sunrise and sunset from your sides. So these are just visuals to show you, I mean, how they look like. Yeah. And again, talking about the Atlas Mountains and the Agave Rock Deserts, both regions offer exciting driving experiences. So thanks to the beautiful landscape, the impressive scenery, I mean, the different off-road options, these are on-road sinuous routes, but there are also, I mean, great off-road options you can explore and you can really enjoy. So there are ample opportunities we can go for, I mean, endless itineraries and options to meet your expectation and even exceed them. Yeah, so impressive valleys, the beautiful palm groves, exquisite locations, I mean, that can be used for picnic chic lunches in the middle of nowhere and so on. And here, I mean, just again for automotive experiences, I mean, there is a great racetrack paddock in Marrakech, just outside the city. Again, we are talking about 15 minutes of drive from the most central hotels. And the paddock we have in Marrakech is really one of the top 5 of the WTCC circuits, thanks to its great, structure with garages, with water and electricity supply, and the beautiful, catering and hospitality areas and meeting spaces, which would be really good. If you combine this with the great high Atlas Mountains regions and the Agafay Rock deserts, which is a great mix for test drives. And the site can also be incorporated or combined with the city infrastructures so that we can reach up to 4,550 meters length. And last but not least, for those interested, in CSR and sustainable actions, again, we are, good supportive of the local community, especially the disadvantaged community. So everything we can do, to the delight of the local community with remaining actions and sustainability actions. We are, so enthusiastic on that. With your support, improving the access to the remote Berber villages with the reinforcements of the access roads. We can also, provide the local community with drinking water, because they spend sometimes ridiculous amounts of time to get from one place to another to get water. So funding wells and so on will be great options. The power supply is also of paramount importance to us, because it just changed life of the local community dramatically and completely. The local children, have always been, again, on the list of our top priorities, with sanitation, with classrooms, decoration, painting, building playgrounds, assembling climb frame, and so on. The Moroccan women, especially in the countryside, unfortunately, they have always been neglected, especially compared to men. So again, it's one of our top priorities that we place great importance on. So we are really keen to improve their income, their independence, and so on. So incorporating this with local handcraft like ceramics, pottery, carpet weaving, and so on. Or, the normal olive tree and fruit tree planting in desert areas and so on. So again, it's something that we cannot really do without your support and so on. So, we can work together on that depending on how we get on. But all the studies, the completion, the conception, the maintenance, and everything will be done, by involving the local authorities and the stakeholders who have always been of great help to us, who have always opened great doors to us, who have always recognized us for our excellence, but also for our constant concern about the local community. And again, we get the locals involved as well, with their representatives, with their associations, and so on. So it's something that we can do on the day during your program, or depending on how ambitious the program is. If it's a big one, then we can start much earlier, and then on the day we leave the last part, for guests to get involved themselves, and we can do it in the shape of a team building activity, just to add to the excitement and to the experience. So again, this is just a little taste of the great experiences and the wide delights that especially Marrakech and the Atlas Mountains have to offer. But of course, whenever you are working on something really specific, we'll be delighted to have something tailor-made, personalized, and comprehensive to your very specific needs, requirements, and expectations.
Great. Thank you, Isaid, for the lovely presentation and introduction, taking us to Marrakech. You have mentioned travel period during your presentation, and you mentioned it's an all-year destination. Talking about incentives, classical incentives, I know that there are some travel periods that are really very good and some that are very attractive prices, but weather is sometimes a little bit a challenge. Can you maybe mention or add your expertise on the travel period?
Well, actually, it is like when it comes to traveling, some of the deciding factors are the weather, but we have a beautiful weather almost all year round. I would probably just maybe avoid July and August because of the extreme heats of the summer. But having said that, it's still a nice, dried and healthy heat. I mean, it's not humid, which makes such a big difference. And some people, I mean, they are more than happy to enjoy Marrakech during those 2 extremely hot months. Otherwise, in terms of rates, I mean, we have great power with our suppliers. So, I mean, our suppliers are not simple suppliers, but they are really partners. So we are really highly selective in their choice. We don't work with everyone. So what we get in return, I mean, the best deals are ours. Even, I mean, with most of them, we have the same rates almost all year round. So just to make sure that you get, I mean, the best value regardless of your chosen dates. I would just exclude, for example, I mean, the Easter period. I would avoid, for example, the Christmas and New Year holidays, but those periods are not really popular or asked for by incentive and conference organizers. So at the end of the day, I would say almost all year round, just maybe not July and August because it's too hot. Even, for example, January and February, which are really in the heart of the winter, the days are really lovely, warm and sunny. Of course, you cannot really rely on outdoor and open air areas in the evening because it gets cooler, but you can still be outside for pre-dinner drinks, but as long as you don't really have dinner under the stars. So, which is still good because I mean, you can still enjoy your pre-dinner drinks between half an hour to 45 minutes or so. And then you get inside, I mean, with a nice fireplace and a beautiful indoor area. I mean, it's still a nice thing because that maximizes the experience because you will be both inside and outside. While if the weather is just so nice, everyone wants to be just outside and they just miss what is inside. So no, I think we are really lucky because it's really one of the few destinations where, I mean, the beautiful weather is almost there all the time and the great value is there as well. So regardless almost of what dates you go for.
Great. Okay, perfect. I'm sure there are some questions probably now. So if you, dear clients, would like to open your microphones and ask questions, now it's the time for it. So probably you have taken some notes or you have a question right now that was not covered in the presentation. So please feel free to ask your questions right now. I think Julia has just opened her microphone. Is the time that you want to ask a question?
So we'll yes. Do it.
I would. You have showed this map with this loop where you could drive around south of Marrakech, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't sure how much time was that, a one-day trip, or
well,
how much time would you need to do something
yeah.
like that?
Well, to be honest, it takes us about a 3/4 day to do it from start to finish. I mean, from the time you leave the hotel to the time you get back. I mean, you leave the hotel around 9 o'clock and you can manage to be back by 4. But it can be shortened and we can make it also longer. So depending on what you are looking for, what are your expectations, what you would like to achieve, whether it's just a driving experience or you would like also to combine this with some cultural aspects as well with the local community, whether there are some, for example, I don't know, CSR projects, or whether there are so many refreshment stops, whether there is, for example, a stop in a weekly Berber market. So there are so many options, but depending on your brief, on what you are looking for, we can have something really tailor-made. But it's not a full day, but it's not half a day either, you know?
Yeah.
The way we do it is that we tend to mix, for example, I mean, we do a mix of on-road and off-road to get to the lunch venue. So it's when, I mean, because people, they are more energetic, they are, I mean, active during the day, I mean, the morning. But, you know, with some refreshments on the way, with some Moroccan specialties and so on. So people won't be starving. So we can easily manage to delay lunch slightly if we have to. But after a wonderful barbecue lunch, people will be a bit lazy. I mean, to try again on the off-road. So following lunch, people are probably keen to get back to the hotel as quickly as possible. And that's when we use the direct road, which only take, 1 hour. But normally it takes a couple of hours to get to the lunch venue, excluding stops, and about an hour to get back to the hotel. But again, it's not a fixed rule, you know?
Yeah. I was just not sure if you have maybe included an overnight stay somewhere, or if that was more like a day trip.
Yeah, both options work. You can either do it, one day trip, or something you can do. When we talk about that beautiful and superb night under the stars, you cannot really do it in the middle of the program. You can, but it's not the best options. Otherwise, you'll have to do the check-in at the hotel, go to the campsite, back again, for another night at the hotel. Ideally, I would do it on day one. For example, from the airport, for example, the cars will be waiting on the car park, and people, they just plunge into adventure straight away.
Okay.
And they spend the first night camping. Again, depending on what time you arrive at the airport, you can go straight to the campsite, or you can do a mix of on-road and off-road. And then on day 2, you continue with adventure. And the idea is that you have lunch somewhere in the Atlas Mountains or close to Marrakech, so that you arrive in time at the hotel in early afternoon for time to check in at the hotel. Because we don't want you to get there early and then it's a bit dusty, and has been muddy or whatever, and people are waiting, for example, and for their rooms to get ready. So all these are elements we take into account. But as I told you, that campsite experience, even for us as organizers, it has always been one of the most fascinating, options, because every time you do it even better, you keep looking for new concepts, new ideas, new enhancements, and so on, And that it's something that will be specially set up, from scratch for the group, It's not the kind of things people can easily book online, or even for us, as much as it's really hard work, that great achievement, has absolutely no value.
Is there, I have another question.
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
Is there a minimum number for
No,
building up these campsites, or is
no.
it just a question of budget?
No, to be honest, regardless of how big your group is, we do everything possible to provide you with the best value ever to be found. Of course, it depends on whether it's a pre-established campsite or a bespoke one. If it's a bespoke one, of course, the larger your group is, the better. Because there are some fixed prices or costs, like the site hire is the same, whether we have 10 people or 100 people, The decoration and setup, the cost is not the same, but it's not so different, And then, of course, what changes is much more the drinks, the food, and so on. But the setup, the decoration, the site hire is pretty much the same regardless of the group size. But I'm talking about the bespoke experience. If you would like to benefit from a better value and you go much more for a fixed campsite, then, for example, if you send us a brief with 10 tents, then we use that campsite that only has 10 or 11 tents to make sure it will be yours. No one will share it with you. But we are not going to take you to another one with 20 tents where you will have to pay more, or you will have to share it with other people. So our objective and our goal is exactly the same as yours. To provide you with the most memorable experience, but offering you also the best value ever to be found.
Okay.
So I think all you need to do, whenever there is an opportunity, whenever there is a brief, just share it with us. We are here, to do everything possible to meet your expectations and to exceed them. So the challenge for us is just to have the first point of contact, but we are not going to leave you go anywhere else.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Julia, for that question. I hope we could answer that so far.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, I would have many more questions, but I will also let the other ones ask some.
But you can also drop us a line with your questions. If you have a questions, simply send us an email. We're going to answer that, especially for you. But please, if you have any general questions, the other ladies as well, then just feel free. Let us know.
Because I believe it's not an exhaustive presentation, but it's just a very little taste of what we can offer. But I mean, the more we work closely together, the more options you are going to explore and to discover deeply, you know, into the smallest details.
There's one thing from my side which I wanted to add, because I know most of you probably would like to know, apart from the best travel period, which is the best duration for incentives. So I would say there are good incentive options for a 2 days program, like 2 nights program. But if we can give you the recommendation to have a 3-night program, especially if you want to combine the overnight experience in the desert, combined with the ultimate Marrakech experience, then we suggest 3 nights, spending 1 night in the desert and 2 nights in the city of Marrakech. And as Isaid said, we recommend to take the first night in the desert, or you can start with 2 nights in the city and then have the last night in the desert. That's up to you. That's up to the drama of your storytelling. But this is the best option. But of course, we also take 4 nights program, whatever.
Yeah. But I think you are absolutely right, Norman. And the fact that it's really a short-haul destination with just a few hours flight, it helps a lot. Also, there is no much time difference. Normally, we are only 1 hour behind Europe, which is fine. And also with a couple of nights, whether there are 2 nights or 3 nights, as Norman said, with 2 nights, it's feasible. But the program will be quite busy, but still exciting and fascinating and enjoyable. But if you do 3 nights, then it's great mix and balance between, for example, the city itself, in the hustle and bustle of the city. You will still have time to be away from the city, exploring the Atlas Mountains, the Agafay Rock Desert, exciting driving experiences, beautiful Casbahs, impressive scenery, impressive landscape. But in terms of off-site dinners, you will also have, for example, 1 dinner in a beautiful palace in the Medina. Another night will be somewhere trendy, atmospheric and cosmopolitan, to show them the other side of Marrakech. And also 1 night under the stars with the 1001 Nights feast, with or without the night camping. And with 3 nights, people will even have time, I mean, for example, with a half day, to enjoy different optional activities. So that we get them, as I said before, involved in their own program. So at the end of the trip, no one is complaining or moaning because, I mean, they have been driven mad, it has been so busy, or they didn't have the opportunity to choose themselves. No, it's a great mix of an exciting common program for everyone, but also optional activities they manage to choose from by themselves. I mean, the off-site dinners, you have Moroccan and, I mean, trendy, but also another very special and memorable evening event under the stars. So what else can they ask for, you know? It just, I mean, for me, it's a great and well-balanced program in the same way we are all trying to achieve. So, I mean, believe me, expectation will be met and will easily be exceeded.
Yeah, we have plenty of options, actually. We could talk for hours.
Yeah. You know, I mean, even when we conduct, for example, I mean, a site inspection for our clients, it's not really the kind of destinations you struggle with and you are really having trouble finding what you are looking for. No, they just said, I mean, we are making life difficult for our clients, but in a nice way. For example, when they ask for an option, we give them loads, you know, and they said, we wish we could, I mean, extend the extensive duration, I don't know, to 4 or 5 nights, simply because the destination has so much to offer. And also for us as a DMC, we maintain constant inspections and ongoing research for new ideas, new venues, new concepts, new products, and so on. Just again, to give us the best chance to, I mean, to impress you and to let you enjoy the program. Because, I mean, I know you run incentives, I mean, for your clients at least once a year. So expectations, they get higher and the bar is placed more and more in the sky. So.
Perfect. Great. So we had lots of talks from me, from Isaid, from you. Any of the other ladies, any more questions? Or are you now afraid that we talk too much when you have a question?
No, it's not me talking, but just my excitement. So, you know, it's just like, so when you really enjoy what you do and when you are really passionate about what you offer, so it's completely beyond my control and my wish. So Sorry about that.
Don't worry. But don't worry, ladies. What we will do anyway is we are going to share our presentation and a lot of more information with options for you, what you can do in Marrakech. So each of you will get the presentation and some additional information. And as I mentioned before, whenever you have questions apart from that, going too much into details or whatever, let us know. Please drop us a line. You can send that to SAE directly. You can also send it to us from STR Promise. We are, of course, here for you. And we are going to connect each other anyway. So whenever you feel free, let us know. Give us a call, send us an email, or yeah, just get in touch with us and connect with us.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything else you would like to mention, to show?
I'm fine. I mean, I just want to reiterate how grateful I am for your time. You were so kind to give up. So thank you ever so much for your attention, for your interest, and we are already very much looking forward to welcoming you to the destination so that you can really experience it firsthand and properly. Because I mean, what I've said doesn't really reflect, I mean, what it all has to offer. So I'm a bit disappointed because I wanted to show you even more. So.
Well, hopefully we can all welcome you in Marrakech to show you live what we have to offer there. Thank you, ladies, very much for taking the time and for your interest in joining our webinar today. We are looking forward to receive your feedback, how you evaluated the quality of this webinar, and we are also looking forward to receive your questions and lots of requests for the lovely destination of Marrakech. So now it's your time to convince your clients to go to Marrakech. We are here for you. And if you want to join STR Promise with another webinar and discover any other of our lovely destinations, then please get in touch with us, and we are always here for you. So have a great day. Thank you, Isaid, for this great presentation.
Thank you all.
Regards to Marrakech and to all the other ladies, and hopefully see you very, very soon. Thanks and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Great. I think we're, yeah. Good.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Shall I stop the recording? Shall I stop recording?
No, I'm not kidding.